It's the Line Makers on Sporting News.
Hey, are you ready for college basketball? I know Rick Herron is, and I am as well. One of my favorite sports. Welcome to the Line Makers here at the South Point. I'm Kenny White. Already told you who Rick Herron was. He's our college hoops expert tonight, and we're going to talk college basketball on an aircraft carrier where San Diego State's going to host Syracuse. Ricky, the early line. I'm going to send out the first line on this game as a pick'em.
Pick'em, okay. Well, I was, honestly, Kenny, I've been waiting for a couple weeks to see Syracuse be a favorite in this game so I could bet the other side. It's an inexperienced team in Syracuse with a lot of losses, with losing Fab Mello, losing Dion Waiters, losing Chris Joseph, losing Scoop Jardine, going against an experienced team early in the year. You're talking about Jamal Franklin, Chase Tapley, James Rahon, Xavier Thames, a couple of transfers that practiced with the team last year, Dwayne Poley Jr. and J.J. O'Brien, both of whom started in their freshman years. Poley at St. John's, O'Brien started 21 games at Utah. And Kenny, I'll ask you, but honestly, another factor in the game for me is that traditionally, Jim Boeheim does not get his teams ready to play marquee matchups like this on opening weekend or early in the season. This is something very different for them. They rarely leave the state of New York until the end of December.
That's a great point, Ricky, and that's one thing when you're following college basketball, that's the type of information you need to win with. And Boeheim's another guy that I follow, Ricky, that if he's laying double digits, and I'm not saying 10, but in the 13 to 15 range to as high as low 20s, he is a horrible cover coach in that point range because his teams really play to the talent level. And I never even thought about him traveling. But I got to be devil's advocate here. Two big guys inside for Syracuse, C&C, Christmas and Coleman. Both these two guys, Christmas is 6'9", 242. Coleman is 6'9", 288. San Diego State has no one near that size or weight. Maybe these two guys can push San Diego State around a little bit because you know this game's going to be played on the inside.
I have no argument with that. Syracuse has a decided size advantage. However, Kenny, San Diego State under Steve, they're used to playing with a decided size advantage against them. They've had to play that for the last 2 years. At least this year, they can go 10 or 12 deep. In the past couple of years, they've only been able to go rotation's only been 6 or 7 deep. Now they have some bodies to counter it with. And the one thing we didn't discuss, the game's on the U.S.S. Midway, which is not an active aircraft carrier. It's a museum now, but it's in San Diego Harbor. There's got to be some kind of advantage for San Diego State playing in San Diego in the game.
Well, no travel is a big advantage right there, and sleeping in your own bed, I think, is a huge advantage as well. Game being played on Sunday. How about a total?
Been moved to Sunday.
It's been moved to
Sunday at 1 o'clock.
Right.
And I was going to ask you a question on that. Now, we talked about, last week, you and I were talking about the game, and you talked about the disadvantages of playing outdoors in the shooting, and the shooting not being as good. And wind is a factor, although it's not supposed to be windy Sunday. But is there a difference playing in twilight the way Michigan State and North Carolina did last year, and now playing a day game, 1 o'clock in the afternoon?
I think the wind is the biggest thing there. They had the lights on last year. They're going to have lights on again. So I don't think that's the problem. It's just the outdoor, it's the wind, it's the environment. Last year's total went way under. I'm looking at about 130 on this total. For Rick Herron, I'm Kenny White. That's the type of information you'll get here at the Line Makers. Stay tuned the entire college basketball season.